Okay, people. So, man, like dealing with all the dances with film stuff, Mitch hit me with this other film, right? And I figured I would give it a look. It is called Somnium, I believe. You know what I mean? I do butcher words, so I might be wrong, but I believe it is called Somnium. It is written and directed by Racheal Cain, right? Cain is also one of the producers of the film, along with Ali Mahir Aksu, Maria Alred, Patricia Chia, Mike Hatton, Chris Rabbi, and Andrea Savidra. It's executive produced by Chloe Levine, Sebastian Kahuna, Peter Rick took care of music, Lance Cahoons was on cinematography. It's edited by Kent Lamb. Bess Pfeiffer and Brianna Rappart were on casting duties. Claire Kirk was down with the set decoration. Hair, makeup, special effects. We got Patrick Bradbury, Mercedes Gonzalez, Ali Mazrego, and Mo Menhart. Who else do we have? Special effects and creature design. Ian Krumer and Olga Tarnovetskia. Right, visual effects, Matt Lathram and Patrick Lomanentini II. Right, and our cast. Right, so Gemma is played by Chloe Levine, and her ex-Hunter is played by Peter Vack. We then have got Noah, played by Will Peltz. There's where is Olivia? Olivia, played by Clarissa Bibu. We've got Dr. Catherine Shaffer, played by Gillian White. There's Brooks, played by Jonathan Sharach. Dakota, played by Grace Van Dyne. Max, played by Drea Michelle. Bethany, played by Shelby Lee Parks. Cowboy, played by Joe Finferra. Cat, played by Emily Mee. The talk show assistant is played by Bill Kotkamp. There is Kevin, played by Mike Bash. Right, the talk show stage manager, played by Tyler Francavilla. The young director is played by C.O. Sur. Porter, played by Cassia Pilowich. Agency lobby patron, played by David Moskovich. Luke, played by Keller Fawns. Casting director, played by Noel Paris. The talk show director, played by Nick Smoke. Gemma's dad is played by Steve Efert. John Park, played by Scott Cargill. Hunter's sister, played by Becky Cook. Got the band Twin Peaks are in there, so that's Colin Kroom, Connor Brudner, Jack Dolan, and Caden Lake James. Then there is Carrington Brook Durham, uh, Hannah Houston, Renee Aranda, Sophie Jordan Collins. They're all they're also in the film, right? So the gist, what is this all about, you may ask, right? So let me make this a little bit fresh off a heart-wrenching breakup, Gemma moves from her small town to LA in pursuit of her dreams. To get on her feet, Gemma takes the overnight shift at a mysterious sleep clinic, Somnium, whose premise is to make clients' dreams come true via a 6-week sleep procedure. But when a disturbing pale creature begins to trail her and dark secrets unravel at the clinic, Gemma soon finds herself trapped in her deepest nightmare with only one way out through. So, yes, that is that's the gist of things, people. That's the gist of things, and it is really friggin' interesting. It really is. We do have a director's statement from Racheal Cain, and it reads, I grew up in the early 90s making VHS horror movies with the neighborhood kids. I was the only girl alongside a ragtag group of 8 boys, and the thing we bonded over most was Wes Craven. Halloween was revered in our house, and my favorite day of each year was always when the Florida heat finally broke and my dad brought down the cardboard boxes filled with spooky decorations. I went on to study film production at Florida State University, where I learned to make my little horror movies with a real camera and crew. And in August 2011, when my first love broke up with me, right before college graduation, I sat on the shadowy curbside outside his house and made a promise to myself. I'd pick myself up, move to LA, and do the only thing I knew how. I'd make a scary movie. All I knew there is that I wanted to make a scary movie about facing fears, something I hadn't seen before, a beautiful horror film. In 2014, after completing my first draft of the script, I began to post about the process on Instagram. Unbeknownst to me, I'd soon connect with my executive producers, cinematographer, production designer, and the community which helped me crowdfund my humble um, wait, what is I saying? My humble budgeted for phase 1 of production. In 2018, myself and a small skeleton crew traveled to southern Georgia to film 20% of the screenplay. All of the lead characters' flashbacks scenes. I knew that part of her story had been written, and I was eager to weave in the texture of the authentic passage of time. Ultimately, 5 years elapsed between filming those flashbacks and our present day scenes in LA. I could have never imagined the ways in which Somnium would morph and unfold throughout the years, or how profoundly I'd be challenged to grow alongside it. But holding on and seeing it through is with what healed me. The barefoot little girl in a group of 8 boys holding my dad's Panasonic as they drove plastic knives into their armpits would be proud. So yeah, that's the thing, right? And it's interesting, right? It's interesting. Oh, what have I done? Hold on, people. Oh dear, dear. Okay. Okie dokie. Slight technical hitch. But yeah, no, watching a film like this and, hearing what someone has to say about it, right? Because I think you can always assume, because, watching this film, different films came to mind for sure, right? And so, like, a film where someone faces their fears, right? Rachel says she hadn't seen something like that before. And I mean, with this, and like with films, right, where you might think, oh, I've seen that before, right? But you haven't seen it from this person's point of view. And just because you've seen something doesn't mean someone else has seen it. So, yeah. So there's always these interesting things come up, right? But with this, you do, oh man, you do get that ominous feeling that something is lurking just out of reach, right? Just before you blah, just out of your grasp, there is something there. uh and it's weird. It's weird because, like, at first it's not necessarily scary or fearful, but it's just that weird kind of sense of being watched. And we're watching Gemma, right? And it's like someone's moving, like we're seeing all of this stuff. Someone's moving and she's looking for new opportunities. She's kind of wide-eyed. And you believe it, right? I think Chloe does a great job with Gemma. And we see her trying to navigate life now, going for all these auditions and everything like that. But you can see that she's doubting herself, right? Doubting her ability, like her looks, just judging herself against other people. When she leaves the casting and sees the other girls, you can see that she's thinking, oh, yeah, she's got a better look, right? She's gonna get this part, not me. So she takes this job. And at the point you're wondering, okay, so what has made her be this way, right? What are the things in life that are bled into her soul? So throughout we get these interesting flashbacks, and we're seeing her with this guy, right? Do we see the initial connections, and then as it unfolds, and I think you do wonder, right? Oh, is this going to be your typical thing? But then one of these flashbacks is very, like, eye-opening, right? But then in the present day, there's all this other stuff going down, right? All this weird stuff at work. And you're just like, oh, there's, something ain't right, but we don't know what, right? We don't know what. Kane does a really good job with the lighting, right? Whether it's lighting in Gemma's flat, in a club, outside, walking around the clinic, right? There's a good use of lighting. Now, I think you do wonder sometimes, why don't Gemma just turn the light on, right? That's a big thing, because there is a scene where she's walking around with a torch And then someone else just turns the light on, and you're just like, yeah, why is she not turn the light on? That makes the most sense, right? But that use of shadow and light, and it does make things creepy as hell. It really does. Does make things creepy as hell. So you have all of this, and now you're wondering, how does this all connect? Right? And who else is in the loop? This is all the interesting things. It's like it's this, I think, this weird kind of horror sci-fi. That's what you assume at first. But I think as time goes on, think you understand what the monster is, right? What everything is that is happening. And it's that interesting way that we see the character navigate all of this, right? I thought that was very good. I enjoyed that. Really good special effects, right? The creature effects, it's weird, it's creepy. And then the kind of dream, kind of odd sequences, right? With the way everything kind of melts and folds and all of that. Yeah, really, really well done. The supporting cast is good. There are moments in the film where you kind of wonder about certain motivations, right? It kind of like, okay, but why would a character do that? Or what is the other kind of background? I mean, there's a few things and something mentioned by Noah that is then okay, so who is that? Right? Have we seen this person? Is this the person who's you know what I mean? So there are different questions, and how did no one notice some of these things that might be going down and all of that kind of stuff? But right, although there are those and certain motivations not necessarily the clearest, Somnium is still a really solid film, and it's Rachel's feature directorial debut. And I think it's a great foundation for her, right? I think we see a lot of promise, right? A lot of promise here. So it'll be definitely interesting to see where she goes next, right? What can she do? What's the next film going to be? I think one thing that this did kind of remind me of was Come True, right? We covered that film in 2021. Um, gosh, I forget if I think it was during a film festival. I can't quite remember, but yeah, not quite the same, right? In premise, but along those similar sleep clinic lines. Also, Winter Tide from last year's Sci-Fi London, right? Again, not the same premise at all, but it just had that kind of vibe, that feel that was a little bit similar. Right. So I'd say if you enjoyed Come True, if you enjoyed Winter Tide, then Somnium will work for you. It is having its world premiere. It's it world premiere at the Chattanooga Film Festival on Saturday. That's the 22nd of June. So if you're in Chattanooga, right, check out the film for sure, or just keep an eye, right? Follow the social links on the website to keep an eye on Rachel and see where else this film may be showing. I do think it's worth a look, right? So, Somnium.